Natalie Draper, and I'm a librarian with the Richmond Public Library and one of our Crafty Hour facilitators in the Innovation Lab. I've really missed getting to know all the people who've come in to discover a new skill with me during our Crafty Hours, so I thought I would try to post a couple of projects here for the folks at home to learn and work on something new until we can meet again at the library. Hopefully soon. Like a lot of people who sew at home, I've been making masks to donate to healthcare workers who don't have access to the PPE that they need to safely do their jobs. I noticed that in the process of cutting the masks from the cotton, the way I was cutting them, I was ending up with these long, narrow strips of fabric, and I was looking for scrap projects that I could do with those. And I realized that they were, as my hair has gotten longer and I haven't been able to get it cut, I realized I've been pulling it out back more, and they're the perfect width and length often to make a scrunchie. So I've got this odd piece of elastic left over. You need two to make a mask, and I got one left over, and it's like 8 inches long or something. And I got the strip of fabric, and I thought, oh, I can put this together, and we can do a really quick sewing tutorial for something that may keep the kids busy, it may keep you busy, maybe it'll become a side gig and you'll become a scrunchie magnate. Up to you. But so you find yourself with strips of fabric and the odd piece of elastic. Don't throw it away. Save it. You can turn it into a scrunchie. Okay, so for supplies, as I mentioned, one piece of elastic. It should be at least 7-8 inches long. Any length and width strip of fabric. It should be probably more than 12 inches, maybe not more than 18-20 inches long, and then about 1.5 to 4 inches wide. Iron and ironing board help. They're not required. Pins are helpful. Needle and thread, a safety pin, and a long strip of yarn or a strong thread. Something, and it needs to be just a little bit longer by about an inch than your strip of fabric. And let's get started. You need to tie the yarn to the safety pin. Just tie a little knot around it here. And then clip the safety pin onto one short edge of your strip. About like that. Next, we want to press under a little bit, maybe like 1/2 inch of the other short end. And you can just kind of finger press with your nails like that if you don't have an iron. You can press it like that. You do. So now I press that edge toward the wrong side of the fabric. It's hard to tell because this is a batik, so both sides are the same. Typically, fabric will have one side that's kind of plain and one side that's patterned. The pattern side is the right side, the plain side is the wrong side. So that will become important in the next step. We fold this right sides together. Okay. You want to place that yarn along the inside and keep it out of the way of your stitching. That yarn will not be part of the final scrunchie, obviously. It is just going to be really useful when we go to turn this tube around, when we want to turn it right side out, because we're going to sew this all along the long edge here. I'm just placing some pins to hold it together. So I've knotted my thread at the end. I'm going to show you how. This is my favorite knot. It's called a quilter's knot. You start by placing the thread across your index finger, tip of your index finger. Place the needle over the top of it. And then with this hand, wrap the thread around the end of the needle a few times. I don't know, maybe 10. And then here, I'm kind of holding that wrapped thread with that finger. I'm going to pinch it with this one. And I'm still holding onto that. I've got it over the eye. I'm going to slide it all the way down to the end. And you get a nice, small, tight, consistent knot every time. Practice it a few times and you'll never forget how to do it. So I'm just going to start stitching here, probably about, I don't know, a little less than 1/4 of an inch from the raw edge. About 1/8 of an inch, I guess. And I'm going to do just a simple long running stitch. It doesn't have to be just the most beautiful stitch you've ever done, because you're really not going to see it when it's all scrunched up. I've come to the end. Let's get pins out of the way. And like I said, I'm going to just stitch back over what I just stitched a few steps, and that just secures the end so that when we turn it around, the stitching doesn't come out. And I'm going to do a little knot. I'm just going to slip the needle under one of my stitches. I'll pull it quite all the way, catch that little loop, and then pull it through. And I got a pretty good little knot there. I just clip that off. Okay. Now we're going to turn our tube right side out. I have this thread that's running all the way through it, and it's connected to the other end. So I could just tug, but you kind of have to help the safety pin down into the top part a little bit, and then you should be able to just basically pull that through. Kind of help it along a little bit. Like that. Aha. I want to keep my pressed edge there, pressed under. And I'm going to take off the safety pin and set it aside. I will need that to thread the elastic through in just a moment. First, it's going to be a skinny scrunchie. So with one end of the elastic, I'm going to put the safety pin through, and so I'll start on the end that's folded under, and I'm going to just feed that elastic through. I'm using that safety pin to give me something to kind of grab onto to be able to pull that through the tube. Don't let it pull all the way through. If this end of the elastic disappears, I got to start all over. So you want to kind of scrunch it up in your hand as you go along. But you may have to put a little pin or something in that end just to keep it from pulling all the way through. And then if I take that pin out, pull it up a little bit. I'm still holding on to both ends. You can just tie it. You can tie it or you can sew it on the machine. I think tying it is actually more secure than stitching it, because you pull hard enough on it, the stitches tend to pull out of the elastic. Oops. It's really tight. Now what I'm going to do here is kind of work the one end was turned under and pressed. The other end was just raw. I'm going to work the raw end. Just going to slip that inside. Here, I want the seams facing the same direction. There we go. I'm going to slip my needle in under the, kind of just inside where I want I don't want the knot to show. I'll just kind of slip that inside. And then I'm going to come back up through that folded edge. And I'm going to do a little slip stitch all the way around. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of one side and slip it through the folded edge of the other side to join the two sides together. I'm going to go all the way around like that. I might go all the way around like that a couple times just so that it's very secure. And there we go. It's like the early 90s all over again. Well, thanks for coming along with me on this brief Scrunchie making crafty hour. I hope you all take care and stay well, and we'll see you back at the library soon. And take this advice, stay home, read books, and save lives.